3, 2, 1, go.
So coloring your model is very easy in Nomad Sculpt. So we have our model here. We have all of our meshes here. So to color it, we'll just use this color sphere down here. You tap it. These are all your options. You can use this to choose whatever color you want. Anything that you're selected, you can adjust the color of. So right now we're just in white. Usually what I like to do is light the character first. Then after I light it, then I color it. So I don't really like white. Obviously, remember in the other video, we changed from matte cap to lit PBR. So I like to make it a neutral color. So I'm going to select everything. So I go to the scene, I select everything. I go to the color, I tap here, and if I scroll down, I think I saved these colors. It's just like a terracotta type color. Just tap on here and then hit paint all. So then it just paints everything this sort of a normal color, which I think is pretty nice. So everything is pretty basic right now, but it's a little bit different when you start adding lights. It looks very different. So first we'll tap this little shading icon here, and this is our environment. So this environment is actually available on my Gumroad and my Patreon, and if you've taken any of my Skillshare Nomad classes, then this is for free. So you'll probably have a different environment. You'll have one of these, and that's okay. This is my own custom one. So, but for right now, we're just going to turn that off. So we want to turn the environment completely off, and it should be black. So now we'll tap the same thing, the little sun icon, and we want to add a light. So now we have our first light. Let's take the gizmo, because this gizmo is now our light. And we're just going to move it up here just so we kind of know where it is. This light is a sun. It's a sunlight. But it can be really complicated. For now, we just put this light here, and it looks good. So we'll take the intensity and we'll just bump it up to 2. Okay, so we have one light there. Looks great. Let's go back into here. Here's our light. Let's rename it to key. It's going to be our key light. Key light means the main light. So let's go ahead and clone this light. And this is going to be our rim light, or our edge light. So we'll tap here. We'll name it rim. So now we have a duplicate of this light. We'll drag the duplicate over here. And we're going to use this ring, this green ring, to turn this light around. We want to keep going. See that white arrow? That's where the light is pointing. So as we keep going, and now we just want it on the rim of the character, right on the edge. So move it, there we go. So we move it down, and then we have that nice, beautiful light right on the rim of our character. So that looks great. We can bump this up a little bit, maybe to 4 or 5 or so. So that looks really good. So the next light, so we have key light, rim light. Let's clone the rim light, and let's use the red arrow and bring it back over here, but let's bring it down a little bit lower. This is just going to be another light shining on this side. It's not going to be a rim light. So we'll go ahead and rotate it maybe around here. So it's just more light hitting from this side. Maybe we'll make it a little bit straight on. And then we'll lower the intensity. So what I'm doing is essentially just building up the lights from complete darkness. So we have the key light, which is the main light. We have the rim light on this side. And now we have another light just making this side brighter than this side. And it already looks really nice, but I always add another light. Just make sure you can see everything clearly. So I always add another light, and this one we'll name TD for top down. We can name this one, let's name that one L3 for light 3. So we go back down to TD. Let's tap on sun and change it to a spotlight. Okay, we'll move this diagonal so you can sort of see what I'm doing. I'll use the blue arrow to pull it off, and now you can see that this light is much different. You can see how we're controlling this light. So it might be nice to just, let's make it a little bit smaller, to have this light kind of like a highlight on the face. We'll use this little orange node. We'll pull that back to make the cone wider. And if you want to see all these options, you just tap these three little dots, and these are all the same options. The cone angle thing we just did is right there. There's softness. And you can also, for the shadow, you can go here and put softness as well. That's for the shadow. So there's a lot of details, but as long as your light setup looks something like this, then it's going to look pretty good. It looks good 8. Okay, I really like that. Another quick tip. So I just positioned it right in the middle. I think it looks good there. Let's save this view. So we tap on the camera, add view, and I'll just rename it to 1. I usually just do it numerically. So now we have it saved. So if we're messing with it, but we want to go right back to where it was, we can just go back to our saved view. So now, since we're almost done, let's go ahead and put post-process on. This will show a more calculated version of what our scene is actually going to look like. So let's tap this little shutter icon and hit post-process. And you can leave it here. I'm just going to turn mine up because I want the quality, I want you to be able to see as much as possible. So now with post-process on, this is closest to what it's actually going to look like. And there's a lot of options you can go through. I have one saved, DFD2, but I'll just scroll down and you can pause it here if you want to see my settings. Reflections on, global illumination is on, and I'll just pause it here. So if you want to look at these settings, you can kind of match everything if you want to, but they're really fun to play around with. They give you different sort of looks. So one last light before we color it, which again, let's go back into here, is the environment. The environment is like ambient light. So we'll turn that back on. I'm using my own, and it's very bright, so I'm going to turn it down to maybe 1.1 or so. I don't need it that bright. So now let's go ahead and color our character. I'm going to move him over here so we have room for our color window. So I'll press the color window here. So now we can just tap on each part and then we can color it however we want to color it. So let's start with the face. Maybe we want him like a real like kind of chicken color, like a light color like this. So we'll go with that. So we're choosing the color. We can choose the roughness or the gloss. This is really glossy. This is really rough. We'll just go around in the middle. Obviously this is metalness. That'll make it look like metallic the more you add. So we don't need any of that. So once you have the color, just hit paint all and it will change it to that color. The eyes. So we can go ahead and do, if you want to do bright white, you can do that. We can bring the roughness down and make the eyes really glossy. You can tap on the pupils. These little guys, you can tap on that. We'll tap on the color. Maybe those will just be all black and still 0 roughness. And for the beak, you can select both the beak, the top and the bottom. And then we can try to find a color for the beak, not black. Let's use a goth chicken. That'd be kind of cool, actually. So maybe something like that. And I don't need it too glossy, maybe a little bit, but not as glossy as like the eyes. So maybe around there. And then we'll paint it. And the eye dots, maybe we'll make those we'll put them close to the skin color. Add some roughness. So we'll do something kind of normal like that. So now we have his little outfit type thing. So there's always an eyedropper. So if you want to take this color and you want to maybe adjust it, the eyedropper is great for grabbing colors. So maybe we'll want to do a nice rich brown or something like this. So we can paint that. And we have this little headband up here. Maybe the headband is maybe some sort of neutral reddish. Kind of like a neutral kind of red. So we'll paint that. Okay, I think this looks nice. Maybe for this, we'll just make it like maybe a little bit of a lighter brown. It's like a good classic floor type color. So maybe something like that. And the only other thing that I would do to a character like this is maybe put some details on like on his face. So one detail, let's add a layer. So now I'm on the face. We will add a layer and then we'll rename it reddish. Okay, so now we have a new layer. Let's go to the color. We'll bring it up here. We'll go to red color. And then we'll use our paint tool. So we'll tap here. We'll use our paint tool. Let's bring the intensity down. So maybe like 25 or so. We'll bring the radius up a bit. So now we have symmetry on, and I'm just going to go ahead and make some little red pops like this. Maybe around the nose as well. And then we'll take our smooth tool and we'll just put the intensity all the way down to 0. And then we'll smooth it. And it's not really smoothing that well, so let's take care of that. So we'll tap this button here, we'll tap miscellaneous, and then we'll tap decimate. So it should say target triangles 50%. So let's decimate once. Now the head is 57. Let's decimate again. Now let's see how the smooth tool works. So now it's smoothing much, much better. So it's just smoothing the color. It's not smoothing the texture. Or it's not smoothing the actual mesh. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good, but it's too rich. It's too saturated. So we go to our layer, we go to reddish, and we'll just turn it down. So maybe something like there, really barely noticeable. I think that looks nice. And here's a good place to adjust eyes, play around with the eyes, try different, positions. I think that looks a bit better to me. Or pupils. You can try adjusting them. You can try making them smaller or bigger. Sometimes smaller pupils look good on different characters. Sometimes the bigger ones look good. But I really like this. I think it came out really good. So let's hide everything so we can get a nice turntable. So I'm in the little light, the shading window. We'll tap show light icons. So we tap that so they go away. When I'm not going to validate the pupils yet. I'm just going to leave it as is. So everything looks good. Let's go ahead and take 4 fingers. We tap on the screen and that makes everything go away. We have this little option up in the left corner. Oops. And here we have the turntable. Okay, so there we go. So then we have a turntable of our character. But by all means, have fun, play around with this character, paint him different colors, paint things on him. That's where you really learn, and that's what's really fun about sculpting. All right, so I think that's about it. Make sure to check out my Skillshare classes. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. I'm also going to bring him in the blender, so keep an eye out. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach,
you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.